Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP, the other ISO cryptocurrencies, Cbdcs, and the Great Reset. The reason I'm doing this video is a lot of people keep saying in the comment section, so you're pro CBDC. Well, if you're new to the channel, you might not know this, but I did a lot of videos on the Great Reset. I tried to wake up a lot of people. When I make these videos, a lot of people say, man, that's very depressing. But if you own cryptocurrency, you should know every aspect of that cryptocurrency. Because without blockchain and the cryptocurrencies that we invest in, the Great Reset cannot push ahead. It's a big factor in the Great Reset. It's a big factor around CBDCs as well. So talk to about 30 people today, just handing out these flyers. 3 had already heard of CBDC. That means 27 people in the process of waking up. So far, no one has assaulted me. You should try it. So out of 30 people, 3 knew what a CBDC is. Like I always told you, outside of crypto, people have no clue what is going on. I was telling people about FedNow before FedNow even went live. They had no clue what FedNow is. I actually had to go to the .gov website to show people that it's an actual real thing. Now FedNow is up and running, and still most people never even heard of it. And FedNow is going to morph into a full-blown CBDC at some point. Wait and see. So what is a CBDC? CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. It refers to a digital form of a country's national currency that is issued and regulated by the central bank. Unlike cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or XLM or XDC or HBAR, which are decentralized and not controlled by any single entity, CBDCs are issued and overseen by the country's central bank. Here in the US, our central bank is the Fed. And a lot of people in crypto still think that XRP is a CBDC. It is not. I will explain what a CBDC is. End of freedom. If this happens, they want to usher in a CBDC cashless society. Hey, cool. Government is trying to make my life easier with a digital currency. But it leads to a social credit score. Access to your money can be turned off at any moment. Every transaction is documented. They can control what you buy under a CBDC. You got to remember, the push right now is for carbon credits and carbon offsets and fighting climate change. So think about it. In the future, if you drive a gas-powered car, maybe you can't buy gas for that car unless you have carbon credits. There's a lot of examples I can give you. But in the wrong hands, a CBDC could enslave the planet. In the right hands, it's very good technology. So Digital Dollar has announced the completion of its retail CBDC pilot. The Digital Dollar is a CBDC. The Fed likes to call it and give it that fancy name, Digital Dollar. It's not a CBDC. Absolutely wrong. And I think they're going to push forward with the CBDC under Biden's Executive Order 14067, which was signed last year. And even when that was signed, I said, that's it. We will have a CBDC in the United States at some point. Other countries around the world are pushing ahead very fast right now with the CBDC as well. But what does a CBDC look like? Well, this gives you an example right here. Take a listen.
The nature of this CBDC, what is it actually going to look like? They never talk about that. But I heard one European central banker tell me what it's going to look like. He saw it. He was invited to one of the old central banks in Europe that are very much promoting this. And they showed him. And, he's a top, executive director of another central bank in Europe. And there's no reason to believe that he was telling me a story. And he was around this large and would be implanted under your skin. So that is the plan.
Right. So when they say they're going to put a CBDC under your skin, a lot of people say, well, that's because it's the beast system in the Bible. And a lot of other people say they're never going to put it under your skin. Listen, I'm never getting this chip, ever. And that is the plan, because even the World Economic Forum talks about this. So the next stage is surveillance under the skin, says Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum advisor, Yuval Noah Harari. They're using polycrisis, disruption, and unemployment to introduce universal basic income to soften the public up to accepting CBDC and nanochips implanted under their skin. And, I always said that this is the end game for the World Economic Forum. But how would they get people to agree with this? Well, they're already doing it. Take a look at any major city in the United States right now. Advisor to Klaus Schwab, what we will do with all the people who are basically worthless. My best guess at present is a combination of drugs and computer games. So this was always part of the plan from day one. And look at all the people who just sit around all day and play video games. If you gave them a universal basic income, they would get this chip tomorrow. Same thing with the people on drugs. If they came and said, hey, listen, we know you don't have money to buy drugs on a daily basis. We have an opportunity for you to get this chip, and then we will give you a monthly income on that chip. People would be lining up around the streets for this very fast. And what about the people who are working, though? They wouldn't be so quick to get this chip. Watch how fast that universal basic income is going to come. Watch how fast the rapid inflation is going to cause of UBI. Watch how rapid the hyperinflation is going to come. I think it's going to start with the BRICS devaluing the US dollar. All of a sudden, the US goes into hyperinflation. They're going to call it a state of emergency so they could push ahead with a full-blown CBDC. They will go live with one. They wouldn't be testing it if they never plan on implementing it. Think about it like that. Then all of a sudden, they will give you universal basic income. Even Elon Musk looks at this as the future. Take a listen.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen.
So he thinks this will happen through AI. So let's go back for 1 second. So if you're not on drugs, right, you could fight back against the chip, the CBDC. And if you're not a person that plays video games all day, instead you go out and you work your job every single day, AI will take your jobs, leaving you with no choice but to get the chip. That's what they picture for us in the future. Like I always told you, this is why it's so important to invest in the same cryptocurrencies that the elites are looking at, so you can enrich yourself before this system ever gets put in place. This way you could fight back against the CBDC, because the elites are never going to live under a CBDC. They're going to have an alternative. And maybe you could buy your way into that alternative by enriching yourself before it's too late. So, cashless society can't be implemented unless digital ID is in place first. Digital ID is the line in the sand you must not cross. You know, digital ID, I look at that as being even worse than the CBDC, because a digital ID is going to come first, and it's going to make a lot of people's lives very miserable. Think about it. Now, they've already pushed it out in Nigeria. It's tied to consumers, workers, micro enterprises, public providers of goods and services, civically minded individuals, and asset owners. So your digital ID will be tied to anything you own, like private property, things like that. And you already see people telling you that you should give up your private property in the name of climate change. You see that happening with Jamie Dimon. And then they're going to tie it to your work history. And maybe you have injuries. It'll be tied to your health, records as well. So maybe that's how they keep you from gaining employment in the future. Everything is leading in this direction, little by little, because all our governments have been implemented by the World Economic Forum somehow, some way. And it's not hard to see it because all you have to do is take a look around and you can see it playing out in real time. So Bill Gates, every person on earth should provide their identity with digital ID. Now, when somebody like Bill Gates is promoting this, you know it's not good for you. You never want to get anything that's promoted by the elites, is what I'm saying. Open Borders is intentional to force digital ID. Great Reset is 24/7 digital surveillance. World Economic Forum, UN, the WHO, in charge of everything. And a lot of people keep saying, why don't they close the border? Even here in the US, people talk about it all the time. And the reason they're not closing that border is because they have to have a reason to force everyone to get a digital ID. And that's what it's going to lead to. That's the end game around it. But again, like I said, you need to pay attention and keep your crypto as safe as possible at the same time so you can enrich yourself. Crypto in the 2024 election takes center stage. Pocahontas versus DeSantis, the anti-crypto army versus crypto crusader. The pro-CBDC versus the anti-CBDC crowd. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. The 2024 election is going to be like no election we have ever seen before. Crypto is going to be talked about like never before. It's going to be all over the mainstream media news. CBDCs are also going to be the talk as well, because the pro-CBDC people, they're not going to want to talk about it. But the people who are anti-CBDC will continue to bring it up at the same time, like bait them into talking about it. Why are you all for a CBDC? You know what that's going to lead to. You see where this is going, right? And I think we're going to see a major transition around crypto at the same time. You got to remember, mass adoption now is on the horizon, because a new financial system is also on the horizon. When we talk about level playing field, our cryptocurrencies that we invest in are already laying the groundwork for that. You can't have a new financial system without a level playing field. Every single person in the world is going to have access to that new financial system. You see it happening through XLM and XRP. But then you look beyond that. You look at trade going digital. XDC is going to be the only player in that. And it's going to be a massive, massive amount of money you can make off of XDC. Trade going digital is going to be huge, beyond words. But, we hold these cryptocurrencies, the same cryptocurrencies that are tied to all of this. And that's how I know we will get rich off of this before a CBDC rolls out. That's my opinion on it. What's yours? Put it in the comments section down below. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.